Welcome back to the channel. I'm Just United. It's the big one. Manchester United versus Bilbao in the second leg of the semi-final in the Europa League. We've got one foot in the final. We've got to get there. We've got to get the job done. We've got to get it over the line. And I'm joined by my boy Peter.
What we saying, people? Listen, it's almost there, but the job's not finished. We got to see it through, but we're confident. Let's go.
I can't wait for this game because for once, as much as United fans have had a torrid time this season, I can say for once we can go into a game with a little bit of belief that we're going to get through, because the Lyon game at 2-2 coming back to Old Trafford, we turned that into a game somehow. Now we've got a little bit of a lead, and I feel like we've got a good chance to get into the final. I would say, touch wood. I don't want to jinx anything, but we got a good chance of getting to the 100%.
Final. We've got.
How do you feel about it?
We've got time. I think we've got a good opportunity at this moment in time. I think, as I said, last week, we'd have bitten people's arms off if they gave us a 3-0 lead going to Old Trafford. It's not job finished, but we're 90% of the way there. It's in our hands. And hopefully at the end of the 90 minutes, we're all looking at last-minute plane journeys to Bilbao.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait because, like I said, the season's been really, really poor. And for us to get to a final where we are in the table, it gives something back to the fans. We're the ones that go there for every single game supporting this team. And you know what? It gives a little bit of respite for Ruben Amorim, and just don't let up. Don't think you're comfortable and you've got one foot in the final. The press conference earlier today with Garnacho, Ruben Amorim, Garnacho's come out. He goes, we're playing this game like it's a final. We need to be on top. We need to keep possession and we need to just go for it. We need to be cutthroat, get everybody some minutes, hopefully play into some form for some players, get a few goals, get a few assists. And let's get to that final with a little bit of oomph.
They're going to come here to play. They're not going to take it lying down. They're not going to just, limp off. It's an opportunity to not only win, but to win emphatically. And then put whoever we're going to face in the final, whether it's Spurs, whether it's Bodo, to put them on notice, to let them know that we are ready. And actually in Europe, we are hitting our stride, got our players ready, got our players fit. And we're waiting for the challenge, and we are taking home that trophy.
Do you think we will take it home?
100%, man. 100%.
Guys, clip it up. Clip it up. Remember to clip it up. Because
I hope that don't backfire, man.
I hope it doesn't. Honestly, I hope it doesn't. And it's a big game. And my second thing that I want to talk about is keeping injury-free for this game, because we saw with the last game, De Ligt coming off injured, and we don't know how long he's going to be out for. He may be back for the final, but I want to get through this game. It's 3-0. We shouldn't have to exert ourselves, impose yourself on the game, and stay injury free, because we should be able to rotate, get a few goals, and then we can take a few players off. And one thing I got to say this season, Ruben Amorim, he's done his job well in managing the players' minutes, because under Ten Hag last season, you could see he was pushing the players to the limit. The minutes need to be managed, and we can't afford to lose anybody for that final, because we haven't got much to play for in the league, as you know.
It was just kind of giving that same feeling of just, what's going on with the medical stuff? But touch wood, we've got to a situation.
Honestly, sorry, don't mean to butt in there. Driscoll, head of medical department. Get the hell out of my club. Go back to Arsenal. Do not come near my club again. You're out of contract at the end of the season. I don't even know why he's there now. Because
I'm convinced
honestly,
he was a spy. He was sent by Arsenal.
100%, because he got bought in last season, the start of last season. He was meant to be the guy, the go-to guy. And obviously, I remember saying as well last season that when it was rumoured that he was going to come in, I remember saying, Arsenal have got all these injuries. Why are we going for this guy? It makes no sense. And you know what? I'm so glad that he's leaving.
I think Amorim's done really well in knowing which players he can trust from an availability standpoint. And I mean, again, you got to look at people like Dallo, even though he got injured now. Look how many games this guy played. Fernandes, obviously, he's got a third lung. Garnacho, always available. Højlund, always available. Like, he's done really, really well managing those players. But then it's also giving him an opportunity, maybe because we're not performing so well in the league, to prioritise the Europa and actually then lessen the minutes of those that are a bit more at risk. So your Mason Mounts and your Luke Shaws, like, they've been now back fit for a little while and they're starting to get games in the belt. Mason Mount started, and it just seems like it's happening at the right time before a major competition, before potentially a final that we could and we should be in. We may have a clean bill of health and may have everyone back. Even De Ligt might not be as serious as we first thought. So yeah, if you're a superstitious man, it just seems like the winds of favour are changing a little bit.
Talk me through your team.
Okay, so I think everyone wants to see Ahmad back in the lineup. I think everyone wants to see people like Luke Shaw back in the lineup. I think there was a big chance of Ahmad starting tomorrow. I still think it could be a possibility. But I think that De Ligt injury that happened might have just been a little bit of a sign to Amrim to be like, do I rush these players back? Can I afford to give them a little bit of a rest because we have a 3-goal lead to protect? And I think that might factor into his decision making. So my 11, I think I've gone with the exact same 11 that started at Bilbao. So you 3 at the back with Lindelof, Maguire, Yoro, who I don't think did anything wrong, and I think they were pretty assured at the back, especially away. Lindelof again, major block on the line. You're going to have your holding midfielders in Ugarte and Casemiro. Ugarte playing a bit more of the box-to-box. Casemiro in that kind of deep playmaker role. And then you're going to have Garnacho kind of made that his own. Fernandes, as always, Fernandes is going to play. You're going to have your wing-backs.
Are you scared? Are you scared?
You know what? I'm a bit
worried.
No, I'm not. I do think we'll get the job done. But again...
No, that's what I think you've gone with.
No,
the same lineup.
I do think we'll get the job done. But I think that it's a case of getting the job done and also coming out of it unscathed. So I think the fact that we put up a performance and we were brilliant in the last game, Ugarte had a really good game, Casemiro had a great game. And you know what? You should reward these players by putting them back in the team again. And so I think Ruben Amorim will just say to his boys, listen, I trust you guys. You walked into an absolute cauldron last week in Bilbao. Yeah, red card, you can never predict that, but you got the job done. So they should be allowed to do that again. Dorgu on the left, Mazraoui on the right. I think that's a solid team. I think that's a team that defensively can look after themselves. And then even in transition, they've shown signs that transitionally they can move well going forward. So yeah, I'd be pretty confident if they see that team that we are booking our place in the final.
Okay. I've personally gone a little bit different. Just because
talk me through this then.
I think freshen it up a little bit. Like you said, people would like to see Ahmad play. I've dropped Lindelof. I bought in Ahmad. I bought in Kobbie Mainoo, and the rest of the team's the same. Just because I think if we are going to play in that final, I do think Mainoo would have a part to play. I do think Ahmad would have a part to play, and I've dropped Lindelof because I think that it did. Don't get me wrong. I had it out with you in the review of the game. I do think he had his moments in that game where it did look a bit shaky, but I've gone with a solid defence in Mazraoui, Maguire and Yoro. I brought Ahmad in because I think he could play into some form. Obviously, he looked sharp in the game against Bournemouth as well. Had a few chances. And then I've gone with Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro in midfield. And the rest of the team's the same as yours. Just because, like I said, freshen it up, get a few goals, and then you can make some changes. And then gives the other players some rest as well, if it's needed. Because, like I said, we've got to manage minutes and we've got to stay injury-free.
Do you not think playing Mainoo, putting him back into the 11, because he hasn't been starting a lot of the games, and to be fair, he has looked a little bit, his match sharpness has probably not been there. Immediately putting him into a final, even with a 3-goal lead, putting him into a semi-final, even with a 3-goal lead, do you not think that's a lot of pressure to play?
I think he's coming back to it now. Like, obviously, I feel like, he's gaining his match fitness back. He's getting sharp. And I feel like he is getting back to that level again. I agree with what you're saying in terms of, do you think it's a bit of a risk, doing that and throwing him straight in? But I think right now, we've got nothing else to play for. And I think if Ruben Amorim is experimenting with him of where he's going to play and if he's going to play him further up the pitch or if he's going to keep him sitting a little bit with Casemiro, think that there's no better time, and with a 3-0 lead, you do get to experiment a bit more. Like I said, if we get an early goal, it can open up, and then maybe he'll have a little bit of more freedom to roam about, and then you can do something a little bit different in the game.
So
It helps.
Do you see Mainoo long term then as the 8, or do you see him as a 10? Like, what do you think is his best position?
I'd say more as a 10.
I agree.
I'd say more as a 10 because he could play as an 8, but it's one of them where, I think Ten Hag said it, and I think Amrim said it as well, where he was like, he struggles sometimes getting box to box. But I think if you're playing further up, he's dangerous as well. The goal that he scored against Lyon and the goal that he scored against Wolves, identical, cutting in, straight bang. Literally identical, and he's taking a few players out of the game. He can have more impact on the game if he's played further up. If he's playing more defensively, you're asking him to do a job, and then he might not be switched on. He might not be at that level yet to think, okay, yes, I'm doing my defensive bit, but then now I've got to do the attacking bit, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. But whereas if you're playing further up, then you've only really got one job to do and impact the game. I want to talk a little bit about Bilbao's tactics, because I do think, like I said, the game is really done and dusted. But you never know. I'm
going to keep crossing my fingers until I hear full-time whistle.
Yeah, it's one of them where, I don't want to talk too much about the tactics. We know that they've got a few players missing in both the Williams brothers and Sansei. 3 key players. And I know you had a little bit of an opinion on this. So tell me what you think about that.
This is just me putting my tinfoil hat on for a moment, but what if this is just an absolutely incredible mind game that's being played? So obviously, I think a tweet came out from Bilbao themselves, telling what the travelling squad was going over to Manchester. Obviously, 3 notable exits or 3 notable omissions of Inaki, Nico Williams, and also their attacking midfielder Sansei, I believe, who is what I've been told is their Bruno kind of figure, their glue kind of guy. And so obviously huge players, and I know that people are saying that maybe that means they're prioritising the Champions League by getting the top 4 in La Liga, but this is a major competition. Why would you not go all out? And as you know, United we could finish 17th. You know what I mean?
You think they got something for us?
Well,
you think they got something for us?
I have a feeling. What if this is a mind game, and these 3 come in and a little bit later? And then Amra's making an entire plan. All the fans are thinking, and then all of a sudden that we see them training, or the team 11 comes out, and you got these people in the lineup, and all of a sudden in that squad now.
Hopefully the flights are a little bit cheaper from Bilbao to Manchester.
Hopefully they're delayed as well. And it's just wow. Okay, so that game plan needs to be changed last minute. Just something to unnerve United a little bit, because it would be a masterstroke of a mind game. It would immediately lead to a little bit of nerves and tension in the fan base, a bit of confusion that hopefully that team can capitalise on. It is a stretch, and as I said, it is a conspiracy. I don't know how tied in people are in terms of Europe, if you submit a travelling squad, whether that has to be the squad that you play. But it's just something to think about.
Okay. So we're going to get into the fun bit of the episode. Give me predictions for this game.
So I think 2-1. I think we're going to win the game. I think we'll score first. I think we'll score the first 2 goals. And after that, it will kind of be a little bit more of a party vibe in Old Trafford. And then maybe towards the end, if they've made some substitutions, I think maybe they nick 1. But yeah, I think with the team that we list out, and with the lead that we've already got, and the fact it's Old Trafford, we're going to have the faithful behind us. I think 2-1.
Okay, I'm going to go for a 3-1 win, just because, like I said, fans are going to be behind us, and I do think that we'll be able to do something in terms of attack, especially if Ahmad starts, and there's a few changes in there. I do think they'll nick a goal, just because obviously they've got to have a little bit of pride about themselves, and I do think that they will nick a goal. Yeah. But I'm going for a 3-1 win. We're going to Bilbao. It's coming home, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.
See you
later.